Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I'll be back.
I'll have what she's having.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. You can either ignore it, or you can help me to stop it.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello, I'm your host, Jim McClean. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Pixels on a Screen, a spoilerific podcast brought to you by the Banterflix movie review website. We look for the deeper meaning in all things cinematic. But of course, as we know now, listeners, there's often tangents, digressions, plenty of spoilers, but we know that's what you're here for. So, on this episode, we are going to be continuing our retrospective of James Cameron's cinematic back-catalogue. We started this over a year ago. We're taking our time, a bit like James does, on quite a few of his projects. So in the previous episode of this retrospective, we were talking about The Abyss. We're taking our time. It's a bit like the House of Mouse retrospective that we do with Victoria. Probably any other podcast would have had that done 6 months. We're already on over a year. And James Cameron hasn't made that many films.
No.
We're just, taking our time. We're working on some special editions of previous pods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's, we're not just sticking. It's not just the only thing we do is this James Cameron retrospective. We touch everything.
Yes, we're going to be talking about a doozy. We're going to be talking about The Terminator, 1984. So it's 40 years this year. That film was released. I don't even think I even introduced you.
No, you didn't. I was just sitting here going, how long are we going to get in the episode before he does so? But no, keep going.
Well, I couldn't do a retrospective. It would be like me doing an episode of More Than Disney Pixels on a Screen without Victoria Brown. Just couldn't happen.
No, it's just intrinsically tied together.
So the voice you're hearing is the lovely Joe Mc Elroy.
Hello.
Adam Neeson's favourite person.
Mm-hmm. And on Adam, he's having a wonderful effect in this retrospective.
Yes, his influence, we've talked about this, the Neeson effect.
Yes, and I'm sure it'll continue into this one and beyond.
I definitely think. So we're going to be talking about The Terminator. So 1984, it's 40-year-old this year. And I think, having rewatched it for this pod, apart from a few things, we've talked about this before, a few wee bits with special effects. I'm sure we'll talk about this. It looks pretty fan-dabby dozy.
Yep. 100% agree with you.
And that's a reference for the kids.
Yeah. Because that reference probably is from around the same time as the Terminator anyway.
Yeah, there we go.
See, everything comes together.
See how I kind of show my age, just kind of subtly putting in a little reference for the kids. So before we kind of get into too much, I don't think there's that much setup for Terminator.
No, it's
Then Skynet gets a bit pissed off with humanity, decides to kind of nearly obliterate mankind. Nearly succeeds. Last-ditch attempt. John Connor agrees. He nearly could stop everything. And Skynet, being the clever robot that it is, decides, well, what I'm going to do, is rather than try and kill John Connor now, I'll go back in time, try and kill his ma.
I just send one of my mates back there and just fucking plug her.
Try and kill his ma. And at the same time, John Connor's like, here, Kyle, you need to go back in time, son, and buck my ma.
Well, does he know? Oh, he does event. I don't know. Timey-wimey
Doctor Who,
gobbledygooky,
61st anniversary nonsense.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he does, but we'll come back to this.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
So, yes, that's kind of the setup. Artificial intelligence can't beat mankind or is about to lose the war against humanity, and in a last-ditch attempt sends the T-800. Am I getting that right? T-800? I always get confused about the models.
No, I think you're right, because he's a T-800, but he's modeled 101.
Yes.
That's it.
All right, you big sexy nerd. Mm-hmm. Sends him back to 1984. I think it's the year the film's released. They go back in time to try and kill Sarah Connor, but they clearly forget to send a photo. So it's just like, we're going to kill any Sarah Connor we can find.
Or anyone we think might be Sarah Connor.
Yeah. You look like you might be Sarah Connor. Ba-dum. So, yes, goes back in time and also does Kyle Reese, as I always say, everyone's favourite lovesick time traveller. I came across time for you. I bet you did. Bet you've came across her a few times, you dirty bastard. So, on that note, I think we shall, before we go in too rambly, I think we'll play a clip.
All right, listen. The Terminator's an infiltration unit. Part man, part machine. Underneath, it's a hyperalloy combat chassis. Microprocessor controlled. Fully armored. Very tough. But outside, it's living human tissue. Flesh, skin, hair, blood, grown for the cyborgs.
Look, Reese, I don't know what you want.
Pay attention! I gotta ditch this car. The 600 series had rubber skin. We spotted them easy. But these are new. They look human. Sweat, bad breath, everything. Very hard to spot. I had to wait till he moved on you before I could zero him.
Look, I am not stupid, you know. They cannot make things like that yet.
Not yet. Not for about 40 years.
So that's a clip of the Terminator Joe. So, as I said in my little rambling introduction, bona fide classic. And having rewatched it for the pod, I watched Terminator and Terminator 2 every couple of years. Hadn't watched it for a little while. Put it on, and I'm like, I forgot how good this. Not that I didn't. Oh, pardon me. I hadn't watched it for a while. Stuck it on for this pod, and I was like, fuck. I forgot just how good this film is. I mean, and I don't mean that, but like, I knew it was good, but just kind of how good it is. And I know what we're going to try and do with this pod. I know it's going to be impossible. I know there's other films within the franchise. There's also TV shows, whatever it is. We're going to try our best in this recording to stick to the Terminator, because we'll do Terminator 2 Judgment Day at some point. But I don't know, Joe. I actually think the Terminator might be better than Terminator 2.
I don't agree with you on that one.
I don't know why I don't know
why you went like that.
I don't know why, but it's a bit like the Aliens thing.
Yes. I think that's where we both differ, because I'm always more of an Aliens fan.
You're right, but you're wrong.
Well, that's all a matter of perspective.
I don't know. I mean, it's just the kind of thing for me, rewatching it, just kind of how dark the first Terminator is and how nasty it is. And I know Cameron kind of purposely then retools it with Judgment Day and makes it much more of a big blockbuster event.
Yeah.
And by that point, he had changed as a filmmaker. I mean, this was his second. I mean, we always talk about this. So there's Piranha, which he kind of got fired from.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's this.
Yeah, it was Piranha 2, and he was like fired near the end of it because he was typical him being a perfectionist. Yeah. Ended up getting him fired, and then this is his first big feature film.
Which I think I remember reading somewhere. A lot of it was kind of done ad hoc. They didn't kind of stick to all the rules when they were filming.
Oh, yeah, a lot of guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah, he kind of talks about that at its finest, and you can kind of, you can see that. And I know if you listen to the Abyss pod from December, when it was kind of, you have Arnie as the villain. Yeah. And it's probably weird. So you show that film, I would say there's people know Terminator 2, probably never seen Terminator, and don't realise that in the first one he's the bad guy. I know they do make a reference to it in T2.
Yeah.
Early on, because you see him coming back and you're like, oh, Jesus.
Even like back. Sarah Connor, when he turns the corner for the first time and sees her again, she's like, oh, no.
Oh, no, he's got the flowers.
Yeah. No, I was the same. I actually had seen T2 first, and I was oblivious to Terminator 1, and then when I eventually watched it, I was like, what's going on here? What's happening?
Do you know what's amazing thing? And this is old man in the room moment. I didn't fart. It was just my hand moved.
I sure you did.
Oh, sorry. Old man. This is my old man moment in the room, right? I was watching Terminator. I'm pretty certain I've seen Terminator before Terminator 2. And I think it's because I always talk about it kind of going to... my parents had a caravan in Clockey. That's where I watched all kind of the films I knew I shouldn't have been when I was too young. You know, listen back to Adam and I talking about Raging Bull and kind of looking back at all the kind of Scorsese retrospective, or looking back at his back catalogue with Goodfellas. I watched that there, seeing Terminator, and we were just able to just put T2 straight on afterwards. Imagine watching Terminator 84 then it doesn't really leave itself. Well, I suppose it does leave itself open for a sequel.
Yeah, it's that open-ended sequence where like Sarah just drives off into the sunset, but you sit not sunset into the storm. Sorry.
Yeah, because you can't imagine that the storm is coming. Anytime I think of that now, I was thinking of when Spaced take the piss out of it.
Oh yeah,
when they're out paintballing, all that kind of stuff. But I can't say.
He says the Spanish sentence.
Yeah,
which
I
means
can't say Spanish. I did French at A level. Où est la bibliothèque? Comme t'appelles tu? Je m'appelle Jim. Je mange des frites. Je joue de foot. Où est la bibliothèque?
Sacre bleu.
Oui. So that GCSE in French has stood me well over the time. But just the fact that you could just... I old man moment, as I said, was the fact that I could just go in, boom, boom. It's like Star Wars. When I watched those, I was able to go Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi. Imagine being cinemas, Empire Strikes Back. And you're like, fuck, you're not going to leave it there. Really?
And what's nearly 3 or 4 years before you get to Return of the Jedi?
You're going to go save Han, right? You're going to go see. It's like the meme in Star Wars with Hayden Christensen and whatever his name, Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna save Han, right? You're gonna save Han, right?
Just his face.
Yeah. I've always said this. I know we're already on a tangent. I've said this before. The closest I think I've ever come to, and I'm not saying in terms of quality listeners or just that sense of what you're fucking ending it here. Other than The Hobbit 2, The Decimation of Smaug.
Aye, where it's just like,
Where it's like, you're fucking finishing it there, and then you go, oh, it's going to be, the third one must be amazing, and literally, Smaug is back for a second.
Aye, 5 minutes and then...
And then they're doing,
and
then Billy Connolly shows up, and it's the Battle of the Five Armies.
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know, just an interest, I know we are fucking tangenting already.
We did it with The Abyss and everything else, it's fine, they know what to expect.
The Hunger Games catching fire. That sense when you see at the end Katniss is kind of like the games and it all comes to an end and she's being lifted up into the crane and then I think there's a little bit of dialogue, but it's like, right, holy fuck, you're finishing it there and then you have to wait. I think with that you had to wait maybe 2 because it wasn't a part 1, part 2. It was just catching fire. So I think maybe 2 years or maybe a year.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things like it was finished. Opening box office smash, right? Okay, green light straight into the next.
I suppose as well, Lord of the Rings.
I was going to say Fellowship because when I seen it for the first time, I had no idea about Lord of the Rings at all. I didn't know the books or anything, and then it just reached the end. Sam and Frodo was just about to go towards Mordor a bit more, and you're like, hang on, what the fuck, you can't end there. And then especially after Merry and Pippin's kidnapped, and they're like, oh, let's go get them and all that. I was like, you can't just end that there. And then, of course, my cousin explained after, no, it's 3 books. There's going to be 3 films. It's like, oh, great.
Did you at that point go and read the books?
Yeah. No, I got it, like, because anyway, it's out in December. My birthday's in January, so I got the book for my birthday.
I remember watching the first Lord of the Rings. It's like, right, I'm going to read all the books. I hadn't even, because I'm a slow reader, I have a weak eye. That's kind of why I like audiobooks now. Mm-hmm. And if I sit and read for too long, my eye gets really, really sore. I get migraines. So it's like, oh, fuck. So I remember reading it. I don't even think I'd finished the first book.
Right.
By the time...
Oh, Two Towers came out?
The Two Towers came out, and then I was like, fuck it, it's fine.
But I think it'd be one better. I didn't bother finish reading as well. I just went to the end and seen what happened.
Joe.
No, but that was after the Two Towers, right? I was good enough. I was like, right, I can wait till the Two Towers comes out. And then obviously it ends.
Do you remember they wanted to rename it?
Because of 9/11?
9/11. You're like, come on, I don't think people are going to get that confused.
Oh, I know. Some Americans are like,
well.
No offense to Americans in general, but like
we do have American listeners.
But the odd ones
I did have I don't know what American listeners listen to this. Hello. Thank you for listening. Apologies, our accents can't be subtitled.
It's the Bannerflicks.
I love the Bannerflicks show. That Adam Neeson, he's a hoot.
Oh, I love that Jim Bob who presents.
And I love it when Joe McElroy, when he does that impression of Lucy, it's so funny.
Fuck, I forget what the impression was. Oh, yeah. Hang on, just come back.
I love it when that Joe McElroy, when he does the impression of Lucy. So, we are having we have references for the kids on this pod.
Yeah.
You know,
every
I Love Lucy and then Fat Dabby Dozy. What can I say? We spared no expense.
Oh, he's come back with it.
I've got my catchphrase back. So let's just jump straight back to the Terminator.
Yes.
I was kind of saying, after we played the clip, I think in my heart of hearts, I think Terminator 2 is an amazing film, and I have the rose-tinted glasses because I probably watched it, because it was a 15, so it wasn't as hard, because Terminator's an 18, I think, still an 18.
Yeah, it's a full-on.
I know you've kind of compared it, and you said this, so I'll not claim credit for it. It's like a slasher movie of sorts.
Well, it kind of is. It follows the same logic,
Yeah.
The killer goes and hunts all the Sarah Connors.
He's quite Michael Myers-esque.
Yeah.
It's an 18, still an 18. It is a tough film at times, particularly when, is it Bill Paxton? Or is it?
It's not him, it's one of the other gang members.
He just put his hand through.
His chest. And...
Is it just comes out covered in blood, or have I misremembered in my head he's got his heart?
I was watching for that today because I was always like, does he rip his heart out? He's like, no, he just full on just shoves it right up there.
You don't fuck about with Arnie, especially with on arse that he has.
No? And then fucking guns.
Buns of steel.
He's looking over LA. Nice wee arse.
Just imagine if you were out for a wee walk and they were filming that.
Nice night for a walk, eh?
Just out with the dog, and they're filming a big film over there. Jesus!
Can you imagine you're going to Cineworld or something like that? You're crossing the bridge, and there's Arnie buck naked by the big fish, just standing there. You're like, "You all right there, mate?" You're like, your clothes. Like, I kind of need them. It's Kyle.
Take him, big lad.
It's probably. If you tried to put on my clothes, it'd fucking just rip.
Because I'm telling you, isn't it up by the observatory?
Yes.
Yeah, it's up at the observatory that they're filming that. Because I love that sequence.
It's fantastic.
Not only have you got the perfect arse of steel in Arnie, no pun intended, because he's a T-800, but it's just kind of walking out and just looking upon LA.
Yeah, he's like, right, my target's out there. I have to get Sarah Connor.
I will find the phone book.
Yes. And just find 5 or 6 Sarah Connors, just kill them off systematically.
As I kind of said earlier in my little rambly introduction, Skynet, we spared no expense. As clever as it is.
Ever wondered what it takes to make it in the movie business? Peel back the curtain with 4-6 Success Filmmaking. 4-6 Success Filmmaking is where filmmakers share their stories and the secrets.
It's beyond competitive out there.
There have been movies that it's taken me 10 years to get made.
Don't wait to create. You've got to just keep making stuff.
Tune in to 4-6 Success Filmmaking for your dose of cinematic realness, direct from the voices that have lived it.
Send a photo.
Because that's the thing. That's the bit I don't really... Oh, wait, no. I'm just trying to think. Kyle Reese, when he goes back, obviously he doesn't have the photo at all, because nothing...
Oh, he's had that photo for
he's had it ages.
Oh, he's had that photo for a wee while. I'd say...
Those lonely nights after a bit of a battle with the machine.
As I said, he's not just came across time for Sarah Connor. I'd say he's come across that photo a few times. Sorry, kids.
Well...
I'm so sorry. No, it's all right. But he fucking has.
It took a long time to burn. Why is that? Anyway, because I forgot the rules. Not an inorganic can go back. So then obviously, but if it makes more sense if Arnie knows what she looks like, because he could have that image in his CPU.
Because I know we promised ourselves we weren't going to jump about. I know in Terminator 3, I think they have.
Oh yeah, the TX. She has like a menu that comes down. It's like, this is that military leader, that one, that one.
Yeah,
that
she's
one.
able to so it's like, all right, okay.
But to be fair, she's more advanced model.
All Arnie gets to have is a little menu option that lets him curse.
Nice thick arse too.
Catherine, if you're listening, I'd be worried. This like scary movie where Joe's like, here, can we watch Terminator again? Just need the first 5 minutes, all right.
I didn't ask her to watch this with me. No, you'll not like this one. No,
it's not good.
I'll just watch on my own here.
Well, let me watch the first 5 minutes of me.
Right,
so Arnie's big thick arse.
Big thick arse, and he can't find Sarah, so goes through the phone book and just systematically looks, okay, where is she?
And she's the third person on the list.
Yeah, the actual Sarah Connor.
The Sarah Connor that we that we don't really know from, if you're just coming in from, that's why I love this film. If you come in from watching this Terminator 2, Sarah Connor's so different.
Yeah.
And I know that Joanne Alexander and I have very different thoughts about this, because I kind of talk about the effect that the Terminator and Skynet has upon Sarah Connor's character, Linda Hamilton, nearly called her Lindsay. Linda Hamilton's character, in the sense that, and it's not that she's sacrificed her femininity, but she's a girly girl. She wants to go out. She's going out earlier on. She gets stood up.
Friday night, going out on a date, and then she still decides to go out anyway.
What a perm.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a perm. And
the 80s hair in that film is just top notch.
Oh, sensational. And her and her mate are going to go out, and she gets stood up, and then I think she just goes to the cinema.
Well, she goes out somewhere. Yeah, I think it is something like that. She's just like, basically, I'm not sitting in the night, going out, and yeah.
I don't want to sit and hug my iguana.
Wasn't it Pugsley, its name?
Whatever it is.
Something like that. But anyway, because that'd be a bit weird with her roommate and her fella in the other room. It's like,
he's a creep.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, I'm just going to rip your fucking clothes off and all that there.
Just pick up the phone. I want to rip your panties off and I want to do this now. And she's like going, oh, Jesus.
You're like, calm down, there's an iguana in the room, mate.
Yeah, she's like, oh, Jesus, this is such a gag. And he doesn't even try anything new. He's like, oh.
Same chat up line.
Whatever his name is, Joe. He's talking about the big thick arse of Arnie there. He just seen as he was walking
big
down.
Austrian bunge.
And it's like, that means, oh man, okay, oh, I'm so sorry. Then it just goes back to say, I want to fucking rip your fucking
blouse
off and do things to you for like 2.5 minutes while we're making love and you're listening to your Walkman. How weird is that?
I just realised if she was from the Shankill, I'm going to take off your sash. And
but how weird is that?
When bowler.
Because, I'm trying to get, hang on, I want to get her name. Yeah, so Ginger.
Ginger, yes.
So
yes.
You've got, as I say, how weird is Ginger when, not that I'm obsessed with the old coitus in this film, but they're making love and she's just got her Walkman on.
But she's obsessed with that thing. Like every scene she's in, she's got she's fixing her hair, so she's got the flipped upside down so you can still listen. She's like, but your mate's right beside you. Can you not have the crack and maybe have a bit of music in the background? Oh, no, she didn't like what I listen and all that shit. And then making her sandwich. And I'm sorry, with those earphones, they're just like wee tiny things. She can't hear him being fucking battered in the other room by Arnie while she's playing drums with celery and shit.
Yeah.
No, I don't buy that. That's one plot.
Is that one plot hole? Okay.
Oh, but this isn't the big one. It's kind of a. But we'll get in there when we get into Kyle Reese.
Right.
It involves Kyle Reese. So
do you know what this is verging into? My lovely wife and I, when we go to the cinema, my lovely wife and I, when we go to the cinema, we come out and like afterwards, like, oh, what do you think? Blah blah blah. Liked it, didn't like it. Then Amber I'll go off on a rant. And Amber will be like, oh, you're being such a film critic. Just did you like it or not? And then we do a thing, and Amber never listens to this pod. Because her exact words are, "What if it's awful?" You're like, thanks, thanks for the
vote of confidence.
Vote of confidence. Stick that on the poster. Amber Hassan McClean. What if it's awful? I can't listen in case it's awful. But we always do a thing. Amber's flaws, and she'll be like plot holes and etc. Blah 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 blah. So I think for this pod, as a one-off, we're going to have Joe's flaws.
Yeah. Well, one of the flaws, right? And it's not and it kind of involves, Ginger Nod as well with Arnie. It's more of a coincidence, right? The fact that he kills her and thinks it's Sarah.
Yeah.
What would have happened if she didn't make that call and he didn't hear it? Would he just dander on about it? Like, I know we're not talking about the later films, but what does a Terminator do after doing that?
Go do a show.
What?
He'd go take in a show. I don't know. Maybe go down to the arcade.
Or was he becoming like, was it Dark Fate? He's like an upholsterer or something out there.
Isn't he a handyman?
Yeah, something like that. Is that what he does?
Old but not obsolete.
Yeah, but like, what was he do after that? Like, because say that's the last Sarah Connor on the list. What do you do?
Well, clearly, if we're going with Dark Fate, he is able to have a relationship.
Yeah, because he listens.
Yes.
He's sensitive.
Do you think that means, right, just, to go full Adam Neeson, right? Do you think then that means, I know you've talked about his Don Big Thick Arse.
Aye.
Do you think he's a Barbie doll at the front or a Ken doll at the front, or do you think they make him a schlong?
Why are you bringing this up? Because I'm going to have to say, when he's walking towards them, you can see a little dingle dangle.
So he's...
Oh, he's all the bits there. It's all happening.
Is that why you like it so much?
No, I prefer the rear view.
Is this like so? Is this like your version of Basic Instinct for me when I was a child? Kind of freeze framing. You're like, if you freeze it just right,
Jim, you don't have to freeze anything. It's all there.
He goes full dong.
Oh yeah,
yes.
He's hanging loose.
Yes. So,
so he's not Kindle.
No. So this is your first flaw. We didn't get it.
It's not really a flaw. It's more of like a what if. It's like, what would happen if he thinks, okay, Sarah's been killed, and actually
maybe
no.
he just sits down and watch telly.
I'm just thinking as well. Sure, surely she would come back to the apartment at some point and go, "Oh fuck, they're all dead," and then it'd be in the news that Sarah Connor finds her housemate dead, and then be like, "Oh shit, I fucked up." I need to get her.
Skynet will be on the phone. You've done it again.
No. But then the next flaw ties into Kyle Reese. So do you want to even
go for
bring
it?
up?
It, yeah.
No, I was going to say, do you want to bring up Kyle in general, his arrival? And stuff?
So we haven't really talked about Kyle and the iconic Nike. What are they? Nike.
It is Nikes, yeah.
I know they're Nike Airs, but I think is it Renegade? I think they're called, because you can buy them now. That is one of the greatest bits of advertising placement ever.
Just slowly.
He's in the little photo booth and just kind of like the jump down and kind of the feet down and you see the trainers. And actually, not that I wanted to spend too much time talking about sequels. I quite like how they replicate that in Genesis. Then it all goes downhill.
Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. That's the thing about Genesis. It's all in one ear out the other.
I mean, I have points I'm sure we can make in Genesis because it kind of ties into this film.
Yeah.
I guess this installment specifically. But we see Kyle coming back, and I guess looking at it now, you don't really know who initially is going to be the good guy and the bad guy. Although, that said, within, 2 minutes of arriving in LA, Arnie's already minced 2 people.
Yeah.
So we guess he's not going to be a goodie.
Well, the thing is...
But then Michael Biehn beats the shite out of... Well, we don't know if he kills him or if he just beats the shite out of him or he just kind of goes, "Here, mate, can I just steal your wee jacket there, please?"
I was like, just give me your wags there.
Yeah, he takes his nags.
He takes his pants and that's it. Then the police catch him.
Does he not take his coat as well?
No, he steals it from the shop. Remember?
You're right.
He picks it down. But that sort of feeds into my flaws. Like, right, out of all the things, he's still wearing them dirty fucking trousers the whole time. And that's right up to before him and Sarah sort of get it on. So you're like, how, he's about to be stinking down there.
Well,
they're on the run. He hasn't washed, and he's been in the police station and everything, and they don't think, maybe I should give him like a pair of trousers or something. He's starting to stink the place up.
Maybe that's how Sarah Connor likes it.
Well, I'll ask Jim. I'll get him on the phone. It's like, here, Jim, why do you wear them stinking trousers all the time? You'd probably be like, who's this?
Stop phoning me.
Tell Arnie I like his hole.
Are you the guy that keeps annoying fucking Ridley? Fuck off.
Can you put me through to Arnie? Is his bun still as good as I remember?
Oh, Jesus, Arnie. Give us them budge. Just imagine, you'd love to bounce stuff off them. Just to do like a wee cherry or something. Do you like the way in that, what's the film with The Rock? Is it Journey to the Center of the Earth or something? And they do the big sequence in 3D where they bounce cherries off his chest. Just imagine just bouncing. So just see what would bounce back. You'd gradually get it, but you'd start small with like a wee cherry or a raisin. Then by the end of it, you'd kind of go up to like a tin of beans.
It bounced back so hard it'd be like a fucking bullet.
Yeah.
Aye.
He's a big lump of a lad.
Big lump of a lad, but love him.
But the thing about it is, and maybe because I know you're prone to watching making off documentaries, and I know this is a film.
Did it with this as well, by the way.
And this is a film I know previously years ago I would have done deep dives into DVD extras and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just age. I wonder how much Arnie must have had. I guess Hollywood and everything. He must have had work done because he looks so different. I know there's a couple of sequences where he's notably different.
Yeah.
And Arnie was even confused. Who am I if this is this robot? I don't know who is real anymore. Some of the moments when the special effects don't stand the test of time.
Oh, I like the eye. And
the eye. And it's like when it's kind of jumping in between him and one side having a good on hook. And then it's like cuts back. It's like, that's not Arnold.
Aye.
That's not. But there's other moments where he's just driving around in the car and you're like, going, he looks different. I know it's just age.
The eyebrows. Remember, Kyle blows up a car and he jumps over it, and it singes his eyebrows off.
Maybe that's why.
I think that's what it must be because I used to be the same, and I'm like, why does he look different? And then I realised he's no eyebrows. And I was like, when did he lose them? And then you go back.
Eyebrows maketh the man.
Pretty much.
There we go.
But that arse still remains.
Stick thon eyebrows on that arse.
Maybe they blew off and just landed on his bum.
I love the way you went all through arse, and then just at that wee line,
His
bum.
wee bottom.
His wee bum.
Ew.
But yes, so Kyle Reese arrives, and then there's this race to kind of find Sarah Connor. Yeah. And then there's a couple of moments. There's foreshadowing as well. So there's a sequence where he arrives with the truck in the car. When I think it's the first Sarah Connor he goes to visit. And then his car drives over the truck.
Yeah,
and it's
the toy
a
truck.
similar truck then that he gets run over. I know we're just jumping about here, spoilers and blah, 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 blah. But nice bit of foreshadowing later on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, opening the door always makes me laugh. And I know I'm a bad person.
Just a stone
It's just hello, Sarah Connor.
Yes.
So over the top, and it's all slowed down. And you've also then got the sequence. I think that's obvious. That would happen before that. The scene with Dick Miller at the gun shop.
Yeah. Oh, I love that scene.
And it's like he kind of goes like, "Oh, I'll have the Uzi,
the Uzi 9mm,
9mm, this,
the fat plasma rifle." Is like, it's what you see, what you get, buddy.
If I was Dick Miller in that situation, 1984, I'd be going, "The fuck are you talking about, mate? Plasma
if Dick
rifle?
Miller was from here,
What the fuck do you think this is? Star Trek?
Get the fuck out my shop.
Get the fuck." But it's just so like the fact is like, "Oh, I'm gonna close the shop up early," and then he's like, "Oh." Just putting
don't me. Like,
here.
Oh, I shouldn't have left the bullets there.
Done it again. They keep telling me. What a fucking dicky thing to do.
A dick move by Dick Miller.
Yeah. What a legend.
Love him.
What a legend. But also, like, it's a shit. Like, the thing is that Arnie or the Terminator in the later films would have made a joke or a line. That's what. That's
post
why
T2. Yeah.
Post T2. That's why I kind of love this film, because it's so. It's like, dun, 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 dun. Hey man, you can't do that. And it's like, boom.
Oh, he does say it wrong though.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
But at the same time, like,
it's not really a catchphrase.
No, it's not.
It's not going to catch on.
He does in Commando.
Yeah, you're not going to have the kids run around the playing field or the school ground going wrong.
Yeah, I know. Like the only thing's I'll be back.
It's not I'll be back.
Yeah.
Which is now Arnie has dined out on.
Oh, big time.
Anytime he's like,
and he wanted to change it. He wanted to be like, "Oh, I'm a machine. I wouldn't be saying I'll be back. It should be I will be back." And then James Cameron is like, "I pay you to act. I'm paid to write the script. So fucking say the line."
Rightfully so.
Yeah, because like I said,
I will be back.
99% of the time he's writing these things. So
yeah, that police scene is amazing.
The police station
sequence is fantastic.
Because you think about it as well, Terminator was a low budget film. Like, even if you do adjust to the inflation, I think it was about 20 million or something like that. But yeah, that sequence alone, just from the initial, like, it was the psychologist leaves, he comes in. I just asked Cesar, and he's like, "Oh, you'll have to wait here," and he's like, "Oh, I'll be back."
Isn't Earl Bowen is the psychiatrist?
I can never remember his name, but yeah, that guy who's in T2 as well.
Yeah, and he's in T3.
Oh, I forgot for some reason.
But I just love the fact that it's the whole kind of like they're standing around just taking the piss out of Kyle Reese. It's like going, "Oh, this is going to be great, going to make millions of this guy in this story." And then just Arnie's outside.
Hi. Just waiting to kill them all.
Yeah.
It's like, you'll have your fun, but you're going to die in about 15 minutes or so.
It's just ruthless.
Oh, yeah, that's the slasher element. That's what like Michael Myers would do. You just go in, stab, next, stab, and you can shoot him, you can try and reason. Doesn't matter. He's going to kill you. He is a Terminator. He will terminate you.
Because I guess that's kind of why it's stuff like that, little sequences like that is why part of me, as much as I know Terminator 2 will always have my heart, the first one, I nearly said RoboCop there for some reason, the first one I think is a better film in the fact that it is so dark. Like, even the dream sequences, like when Kyle's dreaming and kind of thinking back to the future,
fighting in the war,
and they're going through and kind of like the guerrilla filmmaking, the guerrilla fighting as they're kind of going through and trying to avoid the Terminators.
And chucking the bombs under the.
I know that in T2 that sequence or similar sequences are technically better. It's the way,
it's the grittiness of it.
What I love, it's that sequence. I think it's pretty early on. Because I think there's two or three dream sequences.
The opening, it just shows the skulls being crushed by the thing.
Yes.
And that's about it. And then there's Kyle fighting alongside someone throwing the grenades.
But it's how that starts. So he's outside the building site and he's trying to get asleep in the car and he's looking and watching like the digger
cranes and stuff. Yeah.
Going back, and it's a clever edit point because he's it's zooming in and it's watching that, and then suddenly you realize where's that thing going over skulls, and then it's the pan out. And
it's Los Angeles. It's normal.
Yeah, it's into the future, and you've all that stuff, and they're kind of fuck's sake, I think he's looking at the photo. Jesus, Kyle, get a room, mate. And
they do eventually.
Oh, do indeed, do indeed. Fucking Jesus, do indeed get a room high. Oh, just
dirty fuckers.
I was in next door, fucking.
Just trying to watch Match of the Day, and there's 200 bucking there.
Could you just fuck up?
We're making the saver of humanity here. Calm down.
Yes. At least no, not me. No, I'm not.
Nah, we'll leave it there.
Yes, would you just buck up? I'm trying to fucking watch the TV here. But yes, all that stuff. That's brilliant. And then you've also got, I think he's telling Sarah, Kyle's telling Sarah about the future.
Yes,
and then like kind of like she wakes up and it's all the stuff with the dogs, and I think there's another Terminator attack, and it's just you just seem to see the glowing red eyes.
Yeah,
I think it's because the fact so low budget, and they're trying to clearly every penny they have to count. Every film has to do it, but I mean, you think of what James Cameron can do now with Avatar films, the budget he's got.
Oh, it's like a blank check.
Yeah. But you think now it's like, right, we have to prioritize this. No, there's certain sequences in the finale where we see the exoskeleton. It's very kind of...
when it goes to stop motion-y end of it.
Also, do you know, my small hill I'm prepared to die on, I think the point that makes me almost kind of takes me out, I'm being facetious, that sequence outside, let me get it, Cyberdyne... Cyberdyne Computers?
Is this in T2?
No, the first one. That's because that's the building they're outside.
In what?
In the end of first Terminator.
Yes, so it is, because that's how they end up getting the chip and that.
So it's Cyberdyne, and the Terminator's walking.
It's feet. What? Yeah,
how
seriously.
The fuck does that thing stand up?
Like the ultimate kill machine, and it's basically just 3 prongs to walk on. No, that annoys me as well.
Because they do. I think they purposely, like in Terminator 2, they show the feet.
Yeah.
And they're proper big solid feet.
Like, I'm sorry, like Kyle could have went with that fucking pipe and just started battering the fuck out of his feet and smashing them.
Yeah. There's the sequence when he's looking at the mirror and his eye's damaged.
Yeah.
And he's trying to fix it, and it's quite creepy because he's taking the kind of the eye bit, the socket, or the kind of the retina out, and you just see it into the sink. It's quite
yeah.
And then you see kind of the way it's quite cleverly shot. It's like he's looking at one angle and it's clearly Arnie. And he's like, oh, try to like get in here, blah, 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 blah. And then it just cuts to right in front. And it's like, that's not Arnold.
No, it's not.
I don't even think in the 80s kids would be fooled.
No, to be fair.
Arnie apparently was fooled.
But he's like a fella who grew up in a small village in Austria. He'd probably like see his reflection and go, ah! What is this? It's a mirror, Arnold. Oh, okay.
Jesus, this is voodoo.
Why does he talk like Julian from UTV?
It's what I do. What can
exactly. As we've mentioned before about impressions in this show.
So
they're the best kind.
That a couple of little sequences, I think it's let down, or it hasn't stood the test of time.
Again, it's a budgetary thing. You
but,
know,
I mean,
like
these are small things.
Yeah, they're quibbles.
I don't have the same issues with Terminator 2, but then part of me wonders, is it because I'm watching the remastered version, the special editions, where they've went back and purposely tinkered,
up.
And as you kind of said in previous pods, where they like that's great big action sequence, great big stuntman sequence. For years, I used to go, it's not Arnie.
That's not Arnie. It's stuntman.
That's like some fella.
It's like that's Jim Cameron himself.
Some fella just jumping off a fucking off the thing in LA, and you said they've retooled it.
Yeah, because I went to see it. It was in a few years ago in Dublin Road Cinema. R.I.P. They did a re-release of it in anticipation as 4K, and I was watching it and I was going, I remember that being a stuntman, and it's really just like CGI'd faced Arnie, and actually didn't look too bad. I was sort of thinking, oh, I don't know, but because I knew of that, but if you're watching for the first time, you wouldn't
Yeah.
You wouldn't even think twice about it.
But I mean, those are small things that I'm willing to go. I just think it's a really lean, efficient film. What, an hour and 40 minutes?
Yeah, an hour and 40 minutes.
I can't think many Cameron films clocking in less than 2 hours. Is Terminator 2 over 2 hours?
Oh, yeah, it's about the same length as The Abyss, I think.
Yeah, so 2 hours 20 for those two films. We know that...
True Lies? Is it under 2
True
hours?
Lies might be, actually.
It might be just under 2 hours, but it's still fairly long.
But, I mean, you think now, when we think of, like, Avatar 2, what, nearly 3 hours?
Oh, it's 3.5 or something?
Yeah.
Well, you take away credits, like 3:10 or something.
Yeah. So, an hour and 40 minutes. It's a nice, lean, efficient film. Weirdly, do you remember, here's another thing. Remember watching something when you were a kid and it pops up 2029? You're like, Jesus, I'll never see that in my lifetime. That's amazing. Flying cars and everything and fucking robots rocking around the place. Fucking hobbling them out fucking weird kind of leg things.
Because what was it? Escape from New York's 97, isn't it? And you're like, well, that's weird. No, but when does Skynet launch the nuke? It's in 97 as well, isn't it? Yeah, so you're like, still here. It's fucked up.
Yeah. But as they said, one of the ones, they didn't stop. They just postponed it.
Oh, no, that was T2.
No, T3.
Yes, you're right, because
T3
they try and stop it in T2, and then obviously it didn't work, which kind of is a bit
Well,
stupid.
T2 they stopped. They thought they stopped it.
Yeah.
Terminator 3 is like, you didn't stop it, you just postponed it.
But then at the same time, you're like, but how, if they've gotten rid of all the evidence? Well, that's something we can maybe research before the next T-pod.
Yeah, I think at some point we should do kind of the various sequels, because some of them, I mean, Genesis, once it gets to the current kind of the present day, so with Terminator Genesis, the whole way I was sold in that was like, right, we are doing Back to the Future Part 2 with the Terminator franchise. And I'm like, okay, that's actually quite clever, because you're kind of doing concept. Stuff with time travel. And what I was kind of picturing in my head was going to be the events of the first Terminator film are happening, but at the same time, in another part of LA, Genesis is playing. That's why I was so, and I was like going, right, okay, this could be good. And then it wasn't, because that was like 5 minutes of the film. They clearly, like yourself, like Arnie's Butts of Steel, and then they had kind of the weird CGI Arnie.
That actually isn't too bad compared to some of the other sort of like the age stuff you see now. It's actually better in some respects.
Yeah, and I know they kind of recast Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea in paper to do it. I just don't think they were the right actors for it.
Yeah. But as I said at the time, when Genesis came out, I remember going to a midnight screening of it. I didn't like it, didn't hate it as much as some. I know at the time when we reviewed it in the previous version of this pod, we kind of it has that thing of doing the false ticking clock. You know, let's jump back to and give yourself like 5 hours, whatever it was, to stop Judgment Day.
Yeah,
why not go a week? Why not go and give yourself a good week?
I know, I never understand that logic as well.
You know, you're going to San Francisco. Take a bit of time to take in the city.
Because the thing about...
Isn't it San Diego they go to? Or not San Diego, San Francisco.
It is San Francisco, yeah, because there's the sequence on the bridge.
Yeah. You'd want to go see the highlights.
Well, that's
visit the sites before you have to take on the Terminator.
To talk about that, like, I've just recently finished reading 11/22/63, time travel story. Basically, a fellow goes back in time to stop JFK's assassination. Yep. But the way the time travel works there is you move from one fixed point in time to another. So he goes back to 1958, so he has to wait until 63, and it's by his time living there. So like, I don't know if they had to explain something like that in the film. It's like, no, you have a fixed point in time that you can go to in terms of the way the wormholes or whatever friggin' way it works.
Because there is the whole kind of
like
with this, people always talk about like the whole time paradox thing.
Yeah.
So how can you kind of go back in time if you've changed it, because you're going to be going back? It's like in
Looper, isn't it?
Looper, but also in like Back to the Future. Everyone talks about the big flaw with Back to the Future Part 2 is the fact that if they change the future, how can they go back? Because surely it would have been changed. And so they kind of solve it by saying, well, we're going to go back to before Biff gets, I love the way we talk every other film but Terminator. They go back to before Biff gets the Almanac. Isn't it Almanac?
Sports Almanac with all the...
So that's how they can kind of do it. And they have the whole kind of like thing on the board where they're trying to explain it, and then you think of like Star Trek have done this idea. It's like, well, we're going to go back. So everything from this point, I think it's quite clever. I know people don't like the whole Kelvin universe and the kind of Kelvin timeline. It's like, right, well, everything that happened before in all the previous movies, that's still canon, but we're now in this universe because
split timeline, different alternative.
Oh, multiverse, fuck's sake, let's not go down there.
Nope.
But yeah, the time travel elements of this film. I mean, I thought at times like, oh, this is really clever. So if you're going to the robots, the cyborgs, the AI is going to go back to it's your kids, Marty. Sorry. It's your kids, Marty. What is it? The Family Guy. The one of them's dating a black guy.
Oh, yes.
I don't mind that. You've changed, right? Okay, sorry, because we're pushed for time. So I thought at the time when I was younger, I thought it was really clever, cool. So this idea, this AI, artificial intelligence, determined to destroy mankind, sends a robot back to the future. And blah, 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 all hell breaks loose. And then humanity's only response is to send Kyle Reese, the guy who's been waiting his whole life to buck his best mates, the leader of the free world, whatever it is, the savior of the free world. He wants to buck his ma.
Do you ever think in the future he just like nudges him, goes, here, I'm going to buck your ma. There's nothing you can do about it.
I think he just kind of like, here, smell your ma.
Oh, no.
Smell your ma, meet your da.
Oh, God. Yeah,
because they do. Because the whole at the end of Terminator, Sarah's kind of going. She's doing recording, making the video or the audio, not the video recording. She's making the audio tapes. Recording, the tapes. She's like, "Oh, will I tell you if you're?" And you're like, "Well, if you're making these tapes for him and you're recording it, of course you're fucking telling."
No. Even in that scene, she's like, "Will I tell you about my father? I don't know." And then she starts telling them anyway, and you're like, "But you didn't really make a conscious decision to go." Yes or no, and then getting into it or not getting into it. She just plows on through. So John does know when you think about it. Plus, I know Salvation's not, the divisive one, but is there not a scene where John listens to her tape? So yeah, he knows.
He knows. Of course he does. Because we have that, and then, as we've mentioned, the whole kind of timey-wimey sense of it. So Kyle's coming back to save Sarah, save the future, bucks John's ma. So he's the da of the future savior of the world. All this kind of blah, 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 timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah.
And he delivers one of the greatest pickup lines in cinema history. Joe, have you ever tried that? I came across Time for You?
No, because I would probably come out wrong and I'd just get a slap in the face or something and I'd be like, I fucked it up again. No.
When will I learn?
No, it's...
it is one of the most cheesy lines in cinema
but
history.
You can tell when James Cameron was writing that, he just like typed it and just did the Antonio Banderas meme thing. He just went, leaning back going...
I reckon he was working on that script late at night, did the line, he's like, right, gonna have a pint.
Aye.
I'll have a smoke.
It's like, that is...
Done.
That is brilliant.
You've done it again, James.
Bit of trivia, when he was writing this, he was also writing a treatment for Aliens and Rambo 2 at the same time. So he'd like the 3 days. So he'd probably, maybe I put the time thing in Rambo. And then in Aliens, we'll put in like a Terminator for the crack. And then he just gets muddled, just makes a mega script of nonsense.
Start again.
Yeah. No, I've never used that pickup line.
And I mean, the lovemaking scene is pretty cheese-tastic.
Oh, it's pure 80s
the only thing montage. It needs to do, maybe I'm wrong, but I think at some point to make it more 80s would be for Linda Hamilton's Sarah Connor to grab Kyle's arse and show a bit of arsehole.
Bit of quality. Because, if we see
it's
her
not,
arse,
well, it's not a
arse.
bun of steel. We know that much.
No, not in comparison.
No, not that. But I mean, that would make it more.
Arnie was offered the role of Kyle Reese. He was like, I will only do it if I see my ass. I must be on top. But no, he was like, no, I'm more interested in the villain because, You
couldn't picture him as Kyle Reese.
No.
I don't think he works. I think it's kind of the idea of having this macho man in the Terminator, in Arnie.
Yeah.
And you've got Kyle as this kind of, he's really vulnerable. I mean, he is, as I always refer to him, anytime we talk about Kyle Reese, anytime we're talking about Terminator, he's the lovesick time traveler. I mean, he's not kind of Rambo. He's not kind of the macho man. He knows how to make explosives.
Yeah, but it makes sense to who his character is and where they're coming from. Because, he's a malnourished soldier of the future, so he wouldn't be a big, beefcake,
But he's good at adapting and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. He's clever boy.
Yeah.
And then, we could have had Arnie's Kyle Reese against O.J. Simpson's Terminator at one point.
Let's not talk about that.
So that opening scene would have been very different in that context.
Let's not talk about that. But
yes, draw a line.
What I love about it, looking at it now, 2024, 40 years on, we've had this massive kind of discussion about AI.
Yeah.
And we think kind of 2029, so we've got 5 years before
the end.
The world dies, pretty much, or comes close to the end, and someone has to send someone back to the 80s to try and save the day. But it's just kind of how weirdly, we talked about this last year with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, kind of, it's how on the money it feels right now. Okay, I know it's cheesy and it's sci-fi and it's because of films like The Terminator, it's shaped our perception of AI. And I guess we go through it through that prism, but kind of how much of it is kind of discussions that people are having now.
Well, that's the thing. Anytime you hear mention of it, at a big conference, somebody brings up Terminator because the whole idea is
see, anytime mentions it on the news, do you in your head kind of go?
Yeah, it's just like.
How good is the music?
I was going to say I was like, I'm hoping we're going to bring up the score because that's just fantastic.
Because you've got the opening sequence and it's kind of just
it's like
text heavy, blah 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 blah. This happens and I can't remember it word for word, and then it's kind of the pan across with all the kind of words.
It's actually that opening scroll is brilliant because the fate of the world will be decided tonight.
Yeah,
and then you're just like, that just sets you up perfectly. That's just a brilliantly written moment.
It's so good, and then kind of moves on, as I say, score. The music coming back to kind of the love scene is a bit cheesy.
Burn, burn, burn.
Yeah, it's because it's like a love version of
it's slowed down, more melodic.
You need a bit of slow jazz for it.
Yeah,
you could just imagine Brad Fidel just kind of sitting on
cigarette
camera.
Corner of his mouth. That's just fucking gold.
That's your sex. Oh, there's your sex. I'm composing this right now. I'm rigid.
Jim, come here. I'll show you something.
Actually,
that's a little tune I got.
Jim, I can't even get up out of my desk. Just you come on over here.
Just watch this scene. Look at it. Burner.
Yeah.
But even the chase sequences and the stuff that when it's not the main theme, it's just the down.
Because it's frantic and kind of.
And it goes back to your point. It's just a really lean film, and it's because that score just propels it and just makes it go, and it's very percussion heavy as well, and it's just it's perfect for it.
And opposed to the score, some of the music that's in it, I forget the name of the band when they're in the tech noir club. It's like you've got me. I used to have it on my phone. I had to unfortunately apologize because I don't think you can get it legally. Remember, I ripped it from YouTube and was always you got me burning to the 9th degree. See previous pod where I say
we're gonna get them for copyright.
I know, maybe I can get them some royalties, but it's because I love tech noir. I love that sequence and the kind of slowed down kind of when Sarah's just looking up and Arnie's walking towards her.
Well, how does he know that's Sarah? Was he just going to start shooting every woman in the place?
Because it's true.
Because she doesn't speak. Because his only way of knowing it's her is her voice, because he hears in the voice and the answering scene. So he just goes about the club.
Would she maybe have a photo in the apartment, maybe somewhere?
You know what? That makes sense.
And he's probably looking at her, going, "Well, she's dead."
Aye, there's Ginger. There's Sarah. I don't know if I've seen that, but that's the logic that would make it work.
Yeah, I had actually forgotten. I'd forgotten when I rewatched it. I'd forgotten when he killed her ma as well.
Yes, because that's how they get caught.
I could never remember.
In the hotel.
I was watching it going, how does he find her again? And then it's like, Sarah, you dick.
You don't ring your ma. She's dead already.
Because I don't think... does Kyle know that they can mimic other voices?
No. The only thing he explains is used to be rubber skin, picture him straight away, but
Could you imagine a Terminator with rubber skin?
Well, they kind of do it in Salvation, and it's not scary at all. That just looks stupid, but... You can that underground sequence would have been so much fucking scarier if it was like a weird rubber skin thing coming down, just shooting all around him.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Be like Ryan Gosling's mask in Drive. Yeah, that kind of face. Ugh.
I forgot about that. But, yeah, because I know the voice changing element is much more it's a big part of Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what's your dog's name?
Was it? Oh,
how's Fluffy?
You thought the parents are dead.
Zero fucks are given too.
Aye,
like,
just no care. It's like, I knew one's looked after your mother dead.
You're my dad now. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what else we kind of really need to. I mean, we've talked about I think the standout sequence in Terminator is that sequence in the police station. Because it's just, there's so many great bits. The dream sequences are great. And I think considering the budget that they're on, I think they hold up. Some of the stuff, the stop motion stuff, and some of the stuff with the exoskeleton, like when it comes out of the flames, and it's like, oh, it's a nice wee happy end, and then it's just...
but you can tell the way the camera, the shots framed. It's like they're in the foreground. There's a lot of stuff happening in the background. It's like, something's going to happen back there.
And it's weird. Do you not think it's weird that the Terminator, rather than just like going, like getting up, and it's like, oh, there they are, but it's just like, he's a bit like Dougal in Father Ted. He's like looking around going, oh, here we are now.
That's what he does. And then he just turns his head when he sees him.
Oh, here we are now. We're in LA. Jesus. Ted.
And then, he clocks him. He's like, it's yourselves.
Right.
Suppose I'm going to get on with this whole terminating business.
I'll kill you. And even the we talk about cheesy lines with I came across time for you, Sarah. Even Sarah's last line, you're terminated.
Yeah.
It is cheesy.
It is. It's not, you know what? It's not as, well, it isn't, isn't it? It's not as earned to say, stay away from her, you bitch.
Yeah.
In Aliens. That just works perfectly. But yeah, you're just like,
it is a shame that we don't get to see more of the menu options when the Terminator, because is he having that every time?
I think
that's going to take up a lot of RAM.
You know what? That probably feeds back to the whole AI thing. He hears an option, and then obviously you can get AI. Like
most notable response.
Yeah, is
fuck this, you, this, asshole.
But he's stuck in a loop and just says that about everything.
Nice night for a walk. Fuck you, asshole.
Hey, he just gets the knife out anyway.
Oh, poor old Arnie. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else we kind of need to talk, because it's weird, because I think if we were allowing ourselves the indulgence of, say, we'll talk about Terminator, Terminator 2, and the other films, this pod would easily be much longer.
3 hours or something.
But I think we're gonna we're gonna do Terminator 2 probably next. Probably it makes sense to do that next. So we're trying to avoid too much talk about that film, because it's kind of how you can kind of see how they kind of swap things, kind of play with our preconceptions, and kind of in a way that you probably wanted David Gordon Green to do more with the Halloween reboot, when he was that idea of not just let's just do shot from the first film, but flip it slightly more. They do actually do an attempt to kind of genuinely flip stuff. And I think I come back to that point I said at the very start. Imagine watching Terminator, and what is it? When was Terminator? So it was 92.
It was 91, 92, yeah. Early 90s.
So when that's released, coming back going,
10 years.
You're expecting Arnie to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then that kind of clever flipping of that.
Yeah. But we can get in that more when...
Yeah, we can talk about that more. Anything else, do you want to, as we kind of wrap things up?
The only thing that sort of impressed me is just with the script and how he uses exposition, because there's a lot of stuff that he mentioned about time travel and all that. But the way he just weaves that in the car chases and that's just brilliant.
Yeah, he doesn't get bogged down by stuff. It's a bit like kind of the Chris Nolan idea, right? Just keep up. There will be there is times of very heavy exposition, like with Kyle Reese talking to Sarah just before he's like, right, let's get these dirty jeans off and let's get it on.
I'll not even have a shower.
No. Why would he?
No. Well, he should.
But anyway, look, I think we've talked quite a bit. We've been positive. We always talk about this.
Oh yeah,
it's
on a
screen.
Classic.
Absolute bona fide classic. There's not that much that needs to be said. I'm sure there's plenty of things we've missed out. But if you haven't seen it, definitely seek it out.
Yeah.
Because it's worthwhile watching. So that's pretty much all for this. As I say, if you want to listen back to previous episodes in this retrospective, by all means do. We had our Abyss special, which was out in December. We have True Lies. We had Avatar almost a year ago, and Titanic when we had the lovely Victoria Brown on. So that's pretty much it for this pod. There is of course, other episodes available, and make sure you subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of our high quality banter. So that's all from me. So all that's left for me to do now is thank you, Joe. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.
And thank you for listening. If you've got to the end, we'll be back next week with another podcast. But for now, until then, goodbye.